On January 10th, I posted a video here on the channel that put the community on alert. A mystery that had been hidden for over half a decade in Red Dead 2 finally started to unravel. The mystery of the spiderwebs. Since then, something curious happened. New evidence surfaced, new symbols were found, and what once seemed like a set of isolated clues began to form a much more unsettling pattern. Telegraph poles, forgotten objects, abandoned structures, all of this started to connect in a way no one expected, and the more the community investigated, the clearer it became that this mystery was far from solved. Today I'm going to show you what's changed since that first video, the new discoveries, the unexpected connections, and why now we're closer to the heart of this enigma than ever before. So let's dive into the mystery. Before we move on to the next stage of this mystery, it's worth quickly recapping everything that's been uncovered so far. For those who haven't seen the first video, or just to refresh the memory of anyone who's been following this investigation from the start. But if you don't want to watch, just skip ahead to the timestamp showing on the screen. It all began with the discovery of a strange spiderweb on a telegraph pole near Valentine. This first web, initially dismissed as just a curious little detail, ended up being marked on the map by the community and turned out to be the starting point of something much bigger. Taking a closer look at the pole, we noticed that besides the web, there were only nails holding the structure and a spider drawing carved into the wood. It was this drawing that completely changed the direction of the investigation. When the community overlaid the carved spider onto the game map, they noticed its 8 legs pointing to 8 new locations scattered across New Hanover and Lemoyne. Each of these spots had a new telegraph pole. At very specific early morning hours, these poles revealed more spider webs with feathers hanging from them. These webs only appeared during extremely narrow time windows, which explains why this mystery stayed hidden for so many years. In total, 8 main webs were found, all connected by this almost ritualistic pattern of times, places, and symbols. As the investigation progressed, the community discovered a 9th web located at the center of this spider design. Unlike the others, it didn't have feathers, but it displayed symbols pointing in a specific direction, leading players to a new telegraph pole up north. This pole revealed more engravings that started to act like navigation instructions. Following these directions, the investigation led to Fort Wallace, where new symbols were found, including 2 guitars placed in what seemed like an intentional way. Inside and around the fort, even more strange elements appeared, like bird engravings on the watchtower. These engravings ended up pointing to the area near the YPD reservation, connecting the web mystery directly to the cave giant enigma. But finally, by following this trail of clues, the community reached a specific spot on the map, where a huge question mark is carved into a mountain, suggesting there's still something unresolved, something waiting to be understood. And it's right here that we hit a curious pattern, one that repeats throughout the whole investigation. As we can see, one constant in this mystery is the evidence in pairs. 2 main telegraph poles, 2 guitars, 2 bird carvings on top of the watchtower, but strangely only 1 question mark. For many days, the investigation was stuck again. No new leads appeared. No new interaction seemed to push the mystery forward, until the community had a simple but extremely smart insight. By analyzing the pattern of the evidence trail on the map, someone noticed something curious. The path formed by the discoveries looked a lot like an upside-down question mark, and based on that, the community decided to do something bold, literally drawing a question mark on the game's map using the large central spiderweb as the starting point, the one that lies at the heart of the whole mystery. This brought something that had been missing until then, a clear sense of direction. For the first time, it wasn't just about reacting to the clues found, but actively searching for something in a specific, still unexplored area. Setevan, and this interpretation couldn't be more spot on. Shortly after, user screamix.mzs found a second question mark right in that area. With this, another cycle of duplication within the mystery was closed. Unlike the first one, this question mark is in a spot totally accessible to the player, and it's a bit less obvious at first glance, but just look at it from the right angle and there's no doubt about it. It is indeed a question mark. Now the pattern repeats itself in an almost unsettling way. We have 2 central telegraph poles, 2 guitars, 2 bird carvings, and now 2 question marks. So what exactly does this mean? Well, the truth is the community still doesn't know, but one thing's already clear. This duplication of clues is no coincidence, and it doesn't end here. During investigations in that same area, an unexpected discovery caught the community's attention. Something located in a forgotten place, rarely visited and seldom remembered by players. The Loft. The Loft is a small lodging situated in the eastern part of Grizzle. It houses a watchtower and a small camp beside it. It's one of those quiet, intimate structures that make you imagine how amazing it would be to spend a few days isolated in a place like that, far from everything. At first glance, the spot just seems pretty and cozy. The interior is neat, there's a comfortable bed and various supplies carefully arranged on the shelves, but what really matters is on the table. There we find a curious object that many players have probably seen but few have truly recognized. It's a Morse veil telegraph key. Simply put, this device was used in the 19th century to send messages in Morse code. By pressing the metal lever, the operator closed an electrical circuit, sending short and long signals. The combination of these signals formed letters, words, and entire sentences. In other words, it's not just a decorative object, it's literally a communication tool. And here's the most important detail. This is the only spot on the entire Red Dead 2 map, including the New Austin region, that has this exact model of telegraph key. And knowing Rockstar, we all know they love Morse code. Who remembers the mysterious knocks on the sunken hatch in GTA 5? I clearly remember the impact that had, especially when the mystery was solved years ago. Yet before we move on to the next challenge, it's worth taking a quick detour. During the investigation of this mystery, some people asked me to climb the watchtower on the lot and look in a specific direction. According to them, it would be possible to spot on the horizon a rock formation that looks like the letter W, the west. In fact, if you look closely, the rocks do seem to form something like that. However, after following that direction and checking out the area, absolutely nothing relevant was found. No new clues, no objects, no additional symbols. So this possible lead has gone cold. Well, at least for now. But the lack of answers didn't stop the community from keeping the search going. After discovering the loft, attention shifted to the far end, the big question mark drawn on the map. The logic was simple: if a Morse code key had been found there, maybe something complementing it was nearby. But for days, absolutely nothing showed up. It was right in this dry spell that the community made an important decision: to temporarily abandon that area and start investigating another spot on the map. A place known for holding mysteries, experiments, and unusual structures: Roanoke Ridge. And the answer was hidden in one of the most obvious places possible: Marko Dragic's lab. By itself, this structure is already a show on its own. Its entire design is a direct reference to the Wardenclyffe Tower, Nikola Tesla's famous experimental lab, the ultimate symbol of human obsession with electricity, communication, and wireless energy transmission. But what really matters is inside the lab, and that's where the problem lies. The only time the player gets access to the inside of the structure is during the third part of Marko's mission. That's when we find out Marko Dragic was killed by his own creation. However, on PC, thanks to mods, it's possible to enter the lab anytime, and it's in this environment that we find several curious elements. From this sphere that constantly emits sparks to objects that seem completely out of place for the player. Among them, one device stands out, and well, if you didn't exactly know what the first machine was, you probably won't recognize this second one either. 13. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a telegraph register? Simply put, the telegraph register is the device that received messages sent in Morse code. Meanwhile, the Morse key was used to send the signals, pressing the lever and generating electrical pulses. The telegraph register was on the other end of the line, physically recording those pulses onto a paper tape. In other words, one sends the message and the other receives and records it. They don't work alone, they're complementary parts of the same communication system. And this is exactly where things start to get even weirder, because now we're no longer just talking about decorative objects scattered around the map. We're talking about two historically connected devices placed in specific spots inside a mystery revolving around signals, directions, and duplicity. The pattern closes once again. Now we have two central telegraph poles, two guitars, two bird carvings, two question marks, and finally, two machines connected to Morse code. The question stops being, is this a coincidence? And becomes, what exactly Rockstar wanted to convey. Up to today, February 22nd, the moment I'm finishing this script, no new concrete evidence has been found. But something extremely important has come to light. What the community realized is that the first telegraph pole, the one near the Cornwall factory, might never have been the true starting point Rockstar planned for this mystery. In fact, everything points to the investigation being meant to start at a much darker place, Butcher's Creek, and from there to head toward the forgotten and enigmatic Fort Brennan in Roanoke Ridge. So the path the community has taken might be right, but it started at the wrong point. However, this topic deserves a whole video on its own. That's why I'm leaving this part of the investigation for the next channel video, which will drop in a few days. So make sure you're subscribed here and hit the bell so you don't miss a thing. And now I want to hear from you. Do you think these Morse code machines will reveal some hidden message, just like what happened with the crashed UFO in GTA 5? Drop your theory in the comments, because I'm really curious to see what you all are thinking. And if you just landed on this video out of nowhere, know that I've already posted a full video covering the entire first part of the spiderweb mystery. Just click right here next to the yellow arrow to go straight to that video where I explain everything about the spiderwebs in Red Dead Redemption 2. We'll catch up over there in a few seconds. Big hugs, see you later, and goodbye.